Hey guys, I'm Isaac, and today we're going to take a look at my crashed TIE Fighter build. I actually built this during a 1-hour LEGO competition that I actually hosted on my channel, and you can click right up there in the corner or in the description below to check out that competition. It was a lot of fun, and I can't believe I came up with something so good in only an hour. It was one of my LEGO Pro versus Intermediate versus Noob competitions. Building so fast caused this build to be a little bit inaccurate and a little fragile as well, but it's still a really good build and one of my favorite builds that I've made this year, and having only an hour really pushed me to create something awesome. So let's check it out. I'm gonna jump right in with the coolest feature of this build, which is, of course, the ejection seat. And that ejection seat is actually the reason for why this base is so thick, but it's built in a really cool way. Let me first just show you how it works. So right down in here is the ejection seat, as you'd expect in the body of the TIE Fighter. I'm just gonna push this button right here. Pow! It obviously doesn't shoot out very far. I only had 3 bricks to work with in this base, so that means I can't get a lot of spring-loaded power, but it definitely works really well as an ejection seat. It just might not save the pilot in here. And to reload it, all I have to do is push it back down again, and that automatically reloads it. You can see what it looks like if I push the button from the front, and then when I reload it, I push the seat down and it reloads just like that. Now, you're probably wondering how I got all of that mechanism inside this base, and I'm wondering the same thing. I am so amazed by my capability to do that, because usually I don't have such cool functions built into my builds. But this one, I don't know what happened. It's just a fluke, and it turned out really great. I'm just gonna eject the seat one more time. That's one of my favorite functions I've ever included. So I actually built the base so that it could open up and you can check out the inside mechanism, so you guys get to see that too. As you can see, I just have some basic hinges built into the base down here so that this whole panel can open up like that, and you can see the inside. It's kind of a complicated Technic system down there, but it works really well. Hopefully I'll be able to get you guys to understand how this works. So the first part of it is this lever right here, this sort of seesaw part, and if you can see all the way over on that end, it is actually connected with a rubber band to the ground, so that rubber band wants to pull this end down. But the reason the rubber band is not pulling it down is because of this axle right here, which is stopping this paddle from lifting up. And that axle is connected by another rubber band right there to the back wall, and that rubber band wants to keep this axle in. The other important thing is this brown axle right here, and that axle is what's pushing the ejection seat up. Every time you launch it, that axle is what launches it. And so that axle flings up when this seesaw part is released, and because this seesaw is spring-loaded on the other end, it lifts up really fast, which shoots the seat. Then the last thing I had to do is this axle right here that holds it in just has to be connected to the button on the front, right here, so that when you push that button, pushing that button works against this rubber band and stretches it out, which releases this axle. And you probably don't understand how this works, but I'm going to push the button so you can see the parts moving around in there. So I'm pushing the button, it's going to push on this axle right here and this axle. Ready? So as you can see, the motion from the front of the base pushing back this way, since it's connected to the axle, it pushed that axle back, which released this seesaw. And you notice right there, as soon as I pushed that seesaw back down, the axle came back because of the rubber band on that side, which means the button is also back, and the brown axle is back down. So that's basically how the seat reloads. I'm just going to push the button one more time, and then putting the seat back on the brown axle and pushing it down to reload it goes back to that position, and it's all set to get launched off again. So this is a really compact mechanism that works pretty flawlessly, and the reason I like it a lot is also because since the TIE Fighter is at a slight angle, that axle is also at an angle, but because it just rests on that seesaw there, it doesn't have to be straight on. I love playing with this mechanism, it's so fun. Yeah, and that's all. I can just close it up like this. As for the TIE Fighter itself, it is very disproportionate. You'll notice the wing is way too close to the cockpit pod, and the pod itself is not very round. But the nice thing about building a crashed, junky vehicle is that you can kind of just mishmash it together, and you can leave holes. The pieces don't have to be perfect, because that just adds to the whole look of the thing, which was perfect for only building this in an hour. If I had to perfect it to make it just right, I never would have gotten it done in time. But since I could just kind of throw stuff around there, you don't really notice how imperfect it is and how inaccurate it is. I just used a lot of junk piled around there, just different things that are supposed to represent machinery, chains, ropes, pipes, all kinds of stuff. And for the wing itself, I left a few gaping holes through it and put some interesting like pipes and tubes on the back of it so that you could kind of see what looks like the interior of the wing. These gray lines are all over the place, which is perfect for the crashed look of it. Like I said, the entire TIE Fighter is on an angle, which makes it look like it's buried in the sand, and that's just on a basic rocker hinge, which helps keep it connected there. Other than that, the base is just a basic dark gray color with a few brick texture pieces mixed in. It's covered with a layer of sand colored plates, and yeah, it's just a general small build, but it really looks nice, and it absolutely has an amazing function. I just absolutely love this build, and I hope you guys do too. Alright guys, that's all I have to say for this build. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to see more builds like this, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.